Back in days, visiting my grandparents few times a week was the norm for me. They lived in an old stinky house with an unfinished basement. And let me tell you, I never liked it down there. Something was off about it. Maybe the smell. Maybe how the place felt so small even though their house was relatively big. I have no idea. I still remember the last day I ever saw my grandma, and that's why I'm writing all of this. I have to let it out. It was a rainy, cold day, and right after sunset, my grandma asked me to help her in moving some stuff from the basement up to the garage. I didn't mind helping, even with all the chills that the basement gives me. But once we stepped foot into the basement ground, the doorbell rang. And of course, Grandma had to run upstairs immediately for the door, even though she knew how I felt about being down there by myself. Yet she gave no shit as usual. And now she is gone, and I am all by myself. I didn't move, and didn't even want to. Suddenly, the lights started to flicker and I started to hear noises. And not just usual noises, but the type of noise that sounds exactly like talking and whispering. And to be precise, it was coming from the basement storage room right next to me. And with little bit of attention to the whispering, I figured out whose voice was that. And that is the part that freaks me out the most. The voice sounded exactly like my grandma. I was confused as hell. How am I hearing her beside me, even though she just got upstairs right in front of my eyes? I didn't want to move an inch towards the voice, but my curiosity was unbearable to resist. I started moving towards the source of that voice. What's the worst thing that can happen? When I got to the storage door, the lights turned off in a blink. I wanted to run upstairs and just leave this house for good, but my legs froze in place. I heard my name again for the second time. My grandma's voice asking me to open the storage door to help her get out. And yes, I did it. And I regret it. I couldn't see anything as it was still pitch black, and couldn't hear anything but faint laughing that felt like forever. But then, the laughing stopped, and the lights turned back on in the basement. I felt a little bit better with the lights back on, but the downside is that I still couldn't see clearly inside the storage room, as my eyes were still adapting to the light. Few seconds later, I noticed a small clown doll inside the storage room. I wondered how the fuck this clown doll is even in here, as my grandma has a phobia of clowns in general. So why is this damn doll in here? I have no idea. Anyways, as I was still looking at the doll, the storage room lights turned on by itself, and the first thing that caught my attention was the extremely wet floor at the side of the room. It looked like blood, but I was not sure, simply because why the fuck would be all this blood here? It didn't make any sense. Suddenly, something moved inside the room. The steps kept getting closer. It's my grandma. She is smiling and want me to come closer. I screamed and immediately blacked out. The next thing I remember was laying on the couch in the living room, and my grandma looking at me and asking if I was okay. I had no idea if that was real or a dream, but it sure as hell felt real. I decided it was time to leave. I don't want to stay here any longer. While heading to door, I noticed something. Grandma's shoes were all covered in blood. And that was it. I don't remember much other than running like a maniac to my home across town. Next morning, we had a call from Grandpa telling us that Grandma is dead. She hanged herself in the basement that night. To this day, I live with utter regret. Some may say it's all in my head, and none of this even happened, or that she was just suffering from depression or something. But deep down inside, I know it was all because of me. Something was off with that voice behind the storage door, the same voice that led my grandma to hang herself up. All I can do is grieve out loud here from a burner account, till I have enough courage to end it all.